Carli Munõz. My dad, he wasn't a musician, but he loved music. My mom, she could play a little bit of piano, just a very simple thing like a lullaby, all in the black keys. And that's one of the first songs that I learned. I got a piano as a present, birthday present when I was 13, which was a little bit disappointing to me because I wasn't a piano player yet. Why a piano? I want something with wheels. You know, I'm 13. One day I was just bored and okay, I'm gonna try this piano out. I realized that I might have some kind of, I call it musical intelligence. It must be around 1962 at the Holiday Inn in Isla Verde. They had this club and Sabu Martinez was performing there live with this great jazz band. Listening to this band nightly, I got the sense of what they were playing. The picture I had in my mind was like, somebody doesn't show up, maybe I'll be the hero, I'll go up in that stage. One night, the bass player doesn't show up. I've never played a bass in my life, I've never had an acoustic bass in my hand, but I did it. They say, hey man, thank you for doing that. I said, well, I play piano. So I became the piano player. Well, I was playing there, this guy that's acquaintance says, hey, Carli, I'm so-and-so, would you be interested in founding putting a rock group together with me? And I said, yes. So I dropped out of the jazz and became a rock and roller. We became really hot group. It's called The Living End. Pretty soon, someone Puerto Rico, gets a bit small for us because we wanted more. We were getting so big that from there we jumped to New York. We got an audition, like within the first few weeks we were in New York at a place called the Rolling Stone. We got hired. Got hired as a house band. That's how good we were. Then in 1968, still living in New York, I get an offer to come to LA and then a point for the weekend and never came back. And that's where I meet some of the guys that play with the Beach Boys, who eventually asked me to if I would play percussion. Even though I wasn't a percussion player, per se, I joined a tour, my first tour with them, it was late '69, early '70. And it wasn't until a few tours later, Daryl Dragon, who was a pianist, he left to do Captain and Tennille. They called me back for piano. Musically, the band was exploding. That's why the band got voted the best touring band by the Rolling Stone. It was really a great band. The Wilsons were fabulous. These brothers, they were individuals. They were total individuals. Brian is his total self to a fault. Dennis, I bet you anything that the original inspiration for Dennis the Menace was Dennis Wilson. Dennis was a prankster, and I am a prankster, so we hit it off really well. We got to be like best of buddies. One time he liked Heineken's, and I pee in a Heineken bottle. Gave it to him. Oh, we always stayed in touch. He was great with the kids, but at some point I had to cut off. Once he had access, to things, money, and able to get things, he would then up his ante on drugs, you know, so he would go overboard on that. Stardom does change people, you know, especially when you star when you're a kid. We talked about that. Carl and Dennis and I had that conversation. We didn't have youth. Also, it has to do with who you are. Carl was a whole different kind of person. Carl was like an angel. He was very spiritual, very centered. I left because it was getting a little crazy. There was a lot of bickering among the founders, you know, the family. Of course, this is common knowledge. Mike Love and Dennis Wilson, it was like cat and mouse. Mike Love's side, which, you know, often Al Jardine would side with, and also other guys that were in the band that were also pretty much the meditators, the ones that were in TM. Mike Love took that very seriously, and he spent time with Maharishi and went to India, and he basically based his life on TM, Transcendental Meditation. He apparently he just went all the way within its structure or cult, whatever you want to call it. They thought they were the center of the world, and they would always be in their own position and putting down people that ate meat or that smoked cigarettes or that didn't have their lifestyle. So that made me eat more meat, smoke more cigarettes, and a lot more. I'm an independent. I like to think of myself as an independent thinker, and anything that tries to corner me, I reject. I was always a thinker, kind of a searcher, and I wanted to know. I wanted to know about life. I wanted to know about myself, about others. Sometimes we tell people, like children, oh, what are you gonna be to grow up? And they say, well, I wanna be happy. And then you say, oh, no, but that's not something, that's not real. That's, what do you wanna, well, that's real. Very handy in a car like this. Get a little more respect. Favorite all-time place is Carli's. I've been going there for 21 years or more, for 22 years. It's like it was being built and everything, and that's why I built that place. I just love being there. What I do, I go straight to the piano, and I have no idea what I'm going to play. Not a clue. And that is the fun. Whatever I play is because of what's here, what's the energy here. So that's why I never get bored. Love is attached to happiness, So all the stuff you do, you go about your life, and then the key to happiness, in simple form, do what you love.
Wake up, America. Wake up